Well, good morning, folks. Pastor Rocky Branch, Spruce Pine First Baptist Church. As we move on down the line, we're reminded of our commitment to Christ as a servant and a laborer. I guess would be the two things. When the storm is here and all that stuff. All kinds of stuff happened then, but of course now the storm is over and repairs are being done and people are coming in to do that. We're going to have a lot of repairs to do for a long time. And that commitment that we have to Christ is very important. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people sort of in their mind somehow or another think that, once you get saved, you're going to go to heaven. So whatever, the rest doesn't matter, which actually it's critical that we understand what happens after salvation. The birth is the life and the growth is the discipline that we grow into knowledge and understanding. And one of those things that are challenges, Paul says it right here in Philippians. He says it in chapter number 1 of the book of Philippians, verse 19. For I know that this shall turn to my salvation through your prayers and the supplying of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, according to my earnest expectations and my hope, that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness, as always, so now also Christ shall be manifest in my body, whether it be life or death. What an important word. He talks about the salvation experience, but in that salvation experience, he talks about expecting things to happen and not being ashamed of what takes place with his stand of boldness. And he says, whether I live or die. And in fact, the next verse is a verse that many people are well familiar with. It is found in verse 21. For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Now, we have to think about that for just a second, because when you're thinking about this statement, what you are saying, if you can say what the Apostle Paul said, my life is dedicated to Christ. That doesn't mean that you put a robe on and you hold a cross and you walk around with candles. Doesn't mean that at all. It means that wherever you go, whatever you do, the preemptive purpose of your existence is to share Christ in life, in word, and deed. That I'm to show Christ. How else is the lost man going to know anything about Christ if he doesn't see lost people that have been converted that follow Jesus Christ? This is where one of the greatest problems comes in our churches today, is that we have a lot of people that will say that they belong to Christ, that they've been saved, and many of these things trouble me just because of the lack of work that I see happening as an overall picture. This Charlie Kirk thing that happened has sparked an incredible flame of revival, and we certainly hope that continues. And that's among the young people for sure. And we're very excited about that, and hopefully that'll be the case for a long, long time. But you, in your life right now, that I'm talking to you right now, just me and you talking, how is it going with you in your life witnessing for Jesus Christ? Now listen to what Paul says. He says something very important. He says, but if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor, yet what I shall choose, I don't want. Now that's in the flesh, because he's saying he wars in the flesh. And we do too. You war in your physical body to do a spiritual thing, because your spiritual body has a mind, has a direction, has a want, has a satisfaction, but also in the spirit. Same principle applies without any hesitation. Listen carefully again. He goes on to say this, verse 23, for I'm in a strait betwixt two. In other words, I'm in a place where two decisions can be made, and I need to make the right one. Listen to what he says. Having a desire to depart And he says also, and to be with Christ, which is far better. In other words, he said he's lived his life to a point. Now, this is early in the ministry for him, the second missionary journey, but he's in this situation where he says, I have a desire, he says, to be with Christ. That means from earth to heaven, to actually be with Christ, so your natural body would lay down. And he says, I have that desire. And it would be far better for me, he says, if that were the case. But now listen to what he says in the next verse. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you. Paul said, I would be better off if I was with the Lord. That's basically what he says. I'd be better off being with Jesus, but you wouldn't be better off. Now there's the question. How many people in your life are better off because you're in their life? Now really think about this for a minute. I mean, really seriously, just me and you talking. How many people in your life are better because you are in their life? Wow. That's something to think about. And this is exactly what Paul says. He says, hey, I would rather be with the Lord. But for me, it would be better. But for you, I need to be here. Wow. I mean, how important is that statement? That Christ would say, my servant Paul wants to be with me. But Paul is staying behind in his will to help other people. That's what Christ would say. What does he say about you? What does he say about me? Is my heart like the Apostle Paul's heart? Do I desire to stay here to help people, to help shine the light, to help teach the word? Wow, that's incredible stuff. Think about that. I'll be back with you later on.